Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 489 of Geeks in Space. Yes, it's right. You waited long enough. Now it's time for us to talk Jeff Goldblum in the 1986 sci-fi classic, The Fly. But I could not do that alone. No, sir. I need the assistance of Chris DeBona.
Hi.
Nate Ostendorp.
You can't cut fly hair with a Norelco.
and Rob Osboon.
That's me.
All right. Before we dive in, what's everybody's backstory here coming into this one?
You mean what's the story of our first fly
Yeah.
watching?
Where did you break your
Or-
fly cherry?
Or like what
Ew,
animal I
gross.
would want to morph into.
Yeah, so I first saw The Fly, I think it was like one of those late night Cinemax viewings, you know, where they would stash stuff like this because they would get them cheap, you know. I don't think we rented it, so I think it must have been on Cinemax when I was living in Virginia. I don't know. Yeah, but I just remember there's so many things about this movie that I love, and when I was rewatching, I was like, oh yeah, that was really actually pretty horrible and scary and gross.
Yeah.
So
My mom took me to the theater to see this.
Mom of
I
the
was-
year.
Yeah. Well, I loved horror movies, and I was a big fan of the original Fly.
sure.
And so when they had this, I was like, "Mom, you have to take me to go see The Fly." And since it wasn't a Godzilla movie, she was more than happy to do that.
Yeah, my mom loved the original Fly, and I think she watched this one with me, and she was like, "Nope, I'm out." You know, 'cause she
Regrets.
didn't like movies like this.
The thing that I really remember is kids at my school talking about the abortion scenes because it was the 80s
Yeah.
and abortion was a really big deal in, rural West Michigan.
In your cute little Christian college town.
A lot of seventh graders talking about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I had actually totally forgotten about that plot line because I probably saw this in about seventh grade, and it was entirely about the gross metamorphosis stuff. Like everything about that was just horrifying because I didn't watch a lot of horror movies in that era, so this might have been like pretty much the grossest thing I saw up until this point of my life. All right, well, let's get into it. We got the font choices are actually pretty choice throughout this whole movie.
Yeah, the thing I was going to say is that this font is the exact same font as was used for Buena Vista Television in Tron. And that's the one thing I noticed about that. And I loved the fading into the party. I
Yeah.
really loved it. And as a kid, I run Sci-Fu at Google, right? And I remember thinking, oh, are there just parties where scientists hobnob and talk to each other? Isn't that cool? We should have that. And so I've thought that ever since I first saw this. So
You did it, man.
They edited Epstein out of it, though.
Ooh, yeah.
oh wow.
Ouch. And it is
Yeah.
Cronenberg's
I
best.
mean, I don't know.
Scanners.
Well, depends on-
really.
It depends on how much you like Cronenberg, right?
I mean, Naked Lunch was really peak Cronenberg. You know,
Yeah,
it had
that's
Peter
true.
Weller and the creepy crawly typewriters. Yeah.
Have any of you seen Existenz?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That is a movie.
I feel like that might be like peak Cronenberg in terms of you clearly had too much power. It was that
Well,
movie.
yeah, he Jennifer Jason Leigh as a VR game designer, but the VR is a weird Cronenberg pod thing that you
connect to it organically.
So
Nice.
unfortunate.
It really is.
Nice.
God, he looks
So-
like my cousin.
I just wanted to point out that the promise of restaurant grade appliances is the way to every woman's heart here. He's bragging about what a great coffee machine he has.
Yeah.
Don't get out much. You can tell that.
There were a lot of lines here that were maximum Goldblum, and yeah.
I mean, he nails this. I mean, we did Buckaroo Banzai already, but like, it's like this to me might be the most Goldblum. Although you could make a pretty good case for Jurassic Park too, I suppose. But I do feel like
but
by
that came
then
later when he was already famous.
Yeah, like by then he's like a self-parody almost.
Yeah. And they got married because they were in this movie together.
Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum were married?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You did not know that?
I did not know.
Doesn't that totally change like all the scenes? Because honestly, her interhuman relations with men in this movie are super badly written, and yet there's this weird chemistry with her and Goldblum the whole time. And you're like, these characters would not like each other in the slightest. She is way too not Goldblum-esque in this thing, but
so
it works.
I'm gonna run this a few seconds here. Listen to this.
Sickness when I was a kid. I puked on my tricycle. I hate vehicles.
There it is. In 7 seconds, they've given you all of the character motivation for this entire
I have
Jeff
to invent teleportation. I hate vehicles.
I puked on my tricycle. I hate vehicles. Done.
And you know the concept of Chekhov's gun, right?
Yep.
That was Chekhov's vomit.
Oh.
Once you vomit from a childhood experience, you must spend your life rectifying it.
I mean, it comes
And
back.
then how he eats.
Yeah, because you eventually have to vomit on your own food.
This is just some gratuitous piano playing that, is clearly meant to illustrate that he's a genius.
So for me, what this actually does is it demonstrates really how crazy he is. Like, if you invited a woman to your apartment and then, like, okay, I have a guitar sitting right here behind me. If the first thing that I did to a date that I welcome to my apartment and then I sit down and play some chords without like any explanation, that's weird.
Well,
that is
and he
almost
did
every guy in college who can play a guitar, dude. It's not that weird.
I'll also note you see in the foreground of the scene J.S. Bach. There's a Beethoven book on the piano.
Yep.
He's not playing any classical music. He's playing, some early 20th century jazz.
Well, remember, he's also soundtracking his weird patter with her.
Is it all ADR?
Maybe this is a bad idea.
And then he goes, dun, 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 dun.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, so they when they pull up here, they drive down Rape Alley, go to this crazy, scary house. And then here in 5 seconds, he kind of jokes about murdering her.
Yeah.
So the classic American love story. Right?
and then they got married.
Yeah.
That's weird, man. There is nothing about their meet cute that justifies this as being a meet cute. This is a meet horrifying, and she's a reporter, right? She should know better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
She really should.
Rob, did you have anything else you had here? You had another note at 5.
No. That was it.
All right. That was you, Chris.
Call them telepods.
Oh, it was just,
Controlled by this.
there's a button on the door, literally at that timestamp. I love this button. I obsessed on this button when I was a kid. I was like, you can have cool buttons that spin and you can tap. This is incredible. This is the button that inspired the iPod.
Were you raised in a cage?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
basically.
All right.
But I loved this button. So I
7%
wanted to share
of the
with
movie
you,
budget was on
my
the
friends.
pod design.
right?
Well, okay, that's actually, I mean, we can talk about that in this whole sequence, I suppose, because that's kind of where we're at, right? The pod design to this is actually like really cool, and it doesn't look to me like the 80s. Like, if you show me the Back to the Future DeLorean, the Ghostbusters car, like, so many of the iconic machines from sci-fi movies in the 80s look like the 80s. The Fly kind of looks like the 50s or something.
Yeah, I would say dark 70s.
Mm.
Like
They look kind of organic to me. They kind of remind me of the eggs from Alien, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, strictly speaking, okay, so let's talk about the science of the telepods, which is very poorly thought out in the movie. So they have this like telepad at the bottom, and if you look at it, it's almost like a fabric that they put in there over a light, and then you've got the radiating rings around it, which I guess are for radiating heat, right? I mean, that's what you'd use that for, or
Right.
maybe you're running coolant through the rings to keep the pod cool.
It looks like a heat sink. for
It's
sure.
passive cooling.
Right? Yeah. Well, no, it's probably active cooling. Right?
We're gonna need
You know.
Steve from Gamers
And remember-
Nexus to really do some testing here.
Yeah. How many watts per meter squared are
Yep.
they able to dump from the telepod? But yeah,
Have you
'cause, like,
considered
remember
that
when-
TDP might actually be about telepods and not about thermals?
thermal performance? Yeah. Well, no, it's like when there's a scene later where a cable is cut on one of the telepods and it gives off a condensing cooling fluid. So I think there's a coolant cycle going on. I think it's one of the few things that was really well thought out was the telepod design. And the prototype is like no windows, it's a lot rougher, but it's still clearly the ancestor to the other two. I mean, it's really cool.
I don't know if any of you put a note in about this, but I do like how he's got all this monologue-y material about how he's just the guy who puts it all together, and he's outsourced all of
Coming
the
up at
engineering.
9:55. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's funny because I've been trying to write a script for like 6 months, and I was like, I could just do it that way, and then I don't have to worry about any of this other crap. Because other people just built that. I just brought the parts together. Hand wave, hand wave, hand wave.
I don't wear jewelry.
Ooh. Nice.
It's nice. Yeah. Just a very gold blue moment there. Like, I guess I appreciate your stocking. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, what I thought was funny about it was if he's ostensibly a clueless nerd, I mean, her giving him a stocking, I mean, she's telling him, I'm very interested in you, dummy. You should make a pass at me, dummy.
Right.
You know,
No,
it's like,
in any other movie, he thinks they're married now. Right? Like this is a nerd character. Like he's clearly not good with the ladies. Okay, so I think everybody put a note in at 7:15, but I think this is more like the generic let's talk about everything connected to the computer. I just wanted to denote the resolution on his screen.
Yep.
In order to display that font, you would need to have like even a higher resolution than Retina level display in like 2000 or in 1986, because like that's only like a third of the screen that we're zoomed in on, and there is no jaggies there. And I don't know, I don't know if I can. That feels technically inaccurate to me in this movie about a teleportation pod.
you're right, but I will say to you, using the word retina to describe a display shows you to be the Apple sucker that we've always known you to be.
What is the more commonly used vernacular for that term?
High enough resolution. I mean,
You just took
come on.
like 30 seconds to say what Apple has defeated you on already.
I think these are just vector graphics.
That could
Like,
be.
Yeah.
He just has a pure vector display.
He's got a Vectrex
doesn't have
underneath.
it doesn't have any pixels.
I buy
This is
that.
for
did note-
suckers.
I did note that like the level of voice recognition is actually sort of plausible and like the least sci-fi thing in this movie now. Like that actually happened. Like you can basically say commands.
It's very much I mean, so Tron predates this by a few years, but Tron has like full like nuanced voice recognition.
They're having conversations.
Yeah.
These are not conversations. He's just typing with his voice.
But this does do kind of my pet peeve thing where words, like they play synthetic typing sounds and make words appear slow, like as if being typed while the voice is reading them. I don't know. I was like, whenever I see letters type out, I'm like, okay, so you clearly have like, okay, this is 300 baud, 110 baud. I don't know what baud rate this is, but like that's not how these things work.
Super body.
It bothers me more than it should.
It bothers.
I tried, but I couldn't get the D to catch.
So here's the point in the movie where you realize he's built this thing, but really doesn't have a plan for it at all. And he's just invented teleportation so he can pick up science reporters at conventions. I mean, that's as far as he's thought this whole thing out.
Well, I mean, I will say, you know how you know he's a genius is it worked somehow, you know. He managed to bring a science reporter home with him.
And she gave him an undergarment.
Wait a minute.
Crazy.
That means they're married.
Is that a hologram? Where's my stocking?
That's it.
Let's see.
That's it. That's what this machine does.
Yep.
It transports stockings and you into my bed.
Yeah, transport stocking 6 feet.
What cracks me up is all the smoke and condensation that comes from the telepod. I'm like, okay, so if you get into this thing, you're gonna start
I don't.
getting lightheaded, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, yeah, if that much stuff is coming out, those molecules came from you.
Right?
Drink some water after you teleport.
You
That's
can
a-
stay
that's really
properly
good advice.
hydrated.
Yeah, don't take the cup in with you though.
Yeah,
Work alone.
'Cause-
There's a lot.
you will merge with inanimate objects apparently.
It just
if you
happens.
wear something. Yeah.
I have a note later for us to discuss the technology of the telepods and how badly thought out it is, but we'll
Get
to
there.
that.
There's a lot of discussion of merging with the plasma that needs to be really dug into.
So play a few seconds of this monologue though, because I like it.
Yeah.
I don't even understand. I'm really a systems management man. I farm bits and pieces out to guys who are much more brilliant than I am. I say, build me a laser this, design me a molecular analyzer that, and they do, and I just stick them together. But
I mean, we've all been involved in startups. That's how it works.
Sure. I mean, you know, Roseboom's, you know, got memory this and CPU that, and it's not booting up, and he's got to figure it out.
Right?
He's just bringing it together.
He's gold blooming.
Sathis. First of all, we're gonna name it Sathis.
A sinister name.
Yeah.
It is.
A name of someone in a posh office of a apparently super popular science magazine. I mean,
Particle?
did people actually think that Omni was like just really raking it in the 80s?
Or, you know,
Well-
setting the scientific agenda of the United States.
You know?
Yeah.
So, so I mentioned, and you can skip the next one that I was gonna do at 1319. The layout is like Science Magazine, but the one they show later is like Omni, and it's like I don't think, you know, people don't think of this magazine the way they think of science. I have to tell you. So
Yeah, Omni was like, it was to science in many ways the same way as Popular Mechanics was, in that like you are inspired by science, but whereas Omni goes down like a little bit more of a sciencey path, Popular Mechanics just goes down like a let's put a flying car on the cover every month.
yeah, and Omni was like, well, we've ran Laurie Anderson covers now 17 times. Should we do it one more time? And it's like,
Also, is this guy not like the grossest guy in 80s movies imaginable?
he's super toxic. Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah,
he is.
this dude.
He's a mess.
This is the kind of guy that when a woman walks in the room, he starts humping the air. You know, he is completely inappropriate.
He's the kind of guy like other women warn you not to go into a closed office with. You
Yeah.
know, it's
I feel like
Oh,
when,
perfect.
Ewan
Look at that.
McGregor. Ewan McGregor is what I see right there.
oh yeah, he's Obi-Wan.
no. I mean, he's not. I mean, I'm not saying physically he's toxic. I mean, it's just how he and
Every
kudos to
line
the
of
actor
dialogue.
for being that creepy. You know.
Hello there.
Yeah, if he was real, they would need his own personal HR person
Yeah,
just to follow him
Yeah, right?
around.
yeah. He is the guy. Like you can just show clips for this for the HR like sexual harassment video
Sure.
that you have to take every 12 months when you work for a large corporation. They just clips from this movie. It's this guy. It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
So Chris, we're skipping you and we're jumping to
let's go.
Nate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. More toxic
And I
Sapphists.
think I should be.
Everything about this man.
Most earth.
Cheeseburger.
How did you
Hey,
get in?
Yeah, this scene was just
Yeah.
like you thought this guy was super toxic, and now, like, oh yeah, he's gonna appear in the shower at her house.
Yeah. I mean, this is
That's extra
horrifying.
toxic.
And at the end of the scene, she says, "Give me my key back." He's like, "I'm gonna keep it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
For old time's sake.
What a
And he's just
jerk.
sitting there.
Yeah.
I am bad with women, but even I would know. Maybe you leave now. This woman does not like you.
The next one, though. The next scene.
Are we getting to the good stuff?
Yeah.
Here's my problem
Here you
with this scene. You start with a baboon, like you really your first one is a baboon. You just got the pile of baboons in the back that you're loading them in there.
Shovel.
Like,
Need another baboon.
Well, okay.
maybe, yeah.
Okay, plausible deniability. Let me advocate for the Goldblum here. He's done stockings, so he's done. Okay, I have to assume that this is just my framework. I assume that he has done many physical objects, and I assume that he's done something organic, maybe not alive, like a steak.
It turned inside out. Like he turned it inside out. You'd think you'd do that with a tapeworm or a mouse first.
That's
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like
And also, it's
like
so much
there's-
easier to clean up after an inside-out mouse.
there's literally an animal called a lab rat that you can use.
You know.
Or a guinea
Not-
pig. A guinea
Not
pig.
not a hamadryas, baboon, one of the sacred baboons of Egypt. Like I don't even know where he got that thing. That's not a baboon you get to test stuff on.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
so
a
here's
good
the
point,
thing.
Rob. That getting that animal that he has required him to commit a crime.
Yeah, basically.
And this was filmed in Toronto, so it was a real crime. It wasn't like an American you want some bushmeat? Okay, yeah, cool. There's a guy in back who's gonna help you out. But now the other thing about this is, so he transmits this thing across the room, and he turns inside out, and he's still alive, shaking and smacking the window. And it's like, dude, that's not.
There we go.
This wouldn't work.
Yeah. Look at
You
that.
know, it's not like I'm just like an inside out dead thing.
Look how
You
sad
know?
he
If I'm
is, though.
inside out, I'm dead. You know.
The Goldblum is sad.
Yeah, you can tell by his hair.
He turned that poor gorilla into like an Italian dish. Yeah, so I had the pause point at this sequence. This is the scene that, I don't know, 12-year-old me saw and was just like, no.
This is the first scene that sets the tone for the body horror in the
Yeah.
the movie.
It's
Like now, like this is your entree. This is your appetizer.
They're like, dig into the baboon helper because it's only going to get worse.
What kills me about this is, I don't know if someone has a mention of this, but they after murdering the endangered species, they go and get a steak, and it's like, shouldn't you have done that first, or maybe like with a carrot, gotten a carrot. Like an inside-out carrot probably tastes just fine, but it's clearly wrong.
I got to tell you, he rolled up in gold. If you get a woman who doesn't react poorly to that mess that was in that teleporter and is still down with whatever you're up for, I mean, you hold on to her with both hands.
Yep.
You made it
I
through
think
the
Gina
baboon, baby.
Davis's character is pretty damaged. I know there's just, I think there's the past of her character probably reads like, she's a war orphan who's adopted by a cult, and then she ends up, getting a journalism degree from Trump University and ends up working for Omni/Particle magazine. And she meets this, and he's the most normal guy in her life after rapey old Stathis.
After Stathis.
So she's like, he kills baboons, but he treats me right.
Right.
The cast of this movie is only like 6 people, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
You
very
should have seen.
plausible.
You should have seen the way he held my stocking. I know he loves me. He didn't smell it or anything creepy.
He did
He
make
just
that
said
face.
Yeah, he just complimented it creepily.
He said, "Nice."
All right, Nate, this one's you.
This bit right here, just it was one of those things that's like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing in the '80s. Hit play once,
Didn't spend any
he'll
thought
say it.
on what I'm going to wear. I just grab the next set on the rack.
It's just like, oh, he's a genius. He only has one outfit. It's like, oh, okay, that's a Liz Holmes probably watched that, and then everyone was like, oh, it's a Steve Jobs thing.
Yeah,
So
but-
I'm gonna disagree, and it shows in how I am older than you three gentlemen. At the time, the story had gotten out about Einstein only having one outfit, so we wouldn't have to spend any energy picking
Sure.
out his outfit, right? And so that was going around, just popular science circles.
That got disputed
at
though.
the time. So it was disputed, but it was too good to check at the time.
Sure.
Right. This
Well,
was before
and
the
this was-
internet,
Yeah, I was gonna say this was before the internet, so you could basically say whatever you wanted and people would believe it for a long time.
A lot of people don't know this, but Einstein, he had a baboon as a pet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but it was the inside out one.
it was the inside out.
It was the after.
So he
It was
didn't have it.
relatively a lot.
He didn't have it for very long, but he definitely had it.
Oh, okay. Are we going to where are we going now?
Uh-oh.
Oh
yeah, this.
this.
love making.
Ow.
Oh, yeah, classic post love making gambit. I rolled onto a dip pin and got a circuit board embedded in my back.
Yeah, and he I like how he laughs it off. He's like, "Oh, I wonder where that went."
Yeah,
It's like-
I was just analyzing that in bed.
But again, I would like to point out competent screenwriting. That, gentlemen, is called foreshadowing.
Yeah, that's Chekhov's dual inline package. Can I also point out? So this is when I first noticed that this is a sofa bed. So
Yeah.
he manages to get the good-looking science reporter lady to hang with him, a completely inappropriate, terrible choice of a human being, on a sofa bed. It's like, is this a college student? Does she know nothing?
That's actually like, I mean, that's like, think what they're going for, right? Like, he's supposed to be like, he's 10 years too
Yes.
old as a performer for what I think they're going for. Like, he should, and I guess I don't know how old Jeff Goldblum is when he makes this, but like that lifestyle to me, like, is the living in the loft with your crazy technology, that feels like a 24-year-old.
Maybe.
In
But he's
which
got a
case,
PhD, so.
yeah.
He was this far away from the Nobel Prize.
Oh,
He's
That's
been
right, and
working
so-
on the
That's true.
project for 6 years.
Remember, he's been working on this project for 6 years. He was on that other project team for 3 years where he came that close to the Nobel Prize. So he's been working as a pre or postdoc for at least 6 to 9 years, right? So he should be 32,
Or
33.
youngest
at
would
this point.
be early 30s.
but that means he should
Yeah.
have like a small cottage off campus.
Not on a postdoc salary,
That's true. What city do they live in? Toronto, but what city is this
Yeah.
supposed to be?
I think they were trying to be MIT because that first scene was very interior of the main MIT building. So, yeah.
This one's you, Chris.
It is? Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say that Maserati bi-turbo was one of the worst cars ever made by an Italian automaker,
Very personal.
which are just it's a terrible car.
It's heavily featured too. You see it a ton.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Yeah.
almost a 7th cast member.
It is. And like, so honestly, this is the perfect car for Sathis because he's the worst. And so of course you don't have bi-turbo, which is crap. I mean, that car made Chevys good. It was so unreliable, so badly made, broke down all the time. It's crap. And it doesn't even have the style of a Bora or a Maroc, which were the fashionable ones at the time that actually looked cool, were still unreliable as hell. Anyways, that's what I wanted to say. Sathis, terrible.
So now now the movie's ready to start getting serious.
Yeah.
I think it's time for champagne.
So he just teleported the baboon.
Which of course
It was
means
successful. Yep.
he has
And-
access.
Your comment is choice. You should actually say your comment.
It's a good thing too, because he only had a few dozen baboons left.
Thank you. That's amazing. All right, we gotta jump. I'm actually kind of surprised that nobody put a note in between this. Oh, more Stathis. God, I hate this guy.
It's because
Yeah,
we hate
it's a lot of-
Sathis.
Yeah.
He's a bad, creepy,
A lot of
horrible
build
man.
up here.
Oh yeah, but he
Yeah,
does
so-
send a lot of dialogue with his monkey buddy.
Yeah. So here, I thought huge missed opportunity to make like a romantic comedy where he goes in the thing with the baboon and they become like love gurus and talk about the natural truth about love and help the brokenhearted. Just perfect opportunity for a buddy film like that. But
Yeah, it could have been called like Jeff Gold Baboon or
Gold baboon.
Jeff and the Bear, and I
How
don't know.
about Babloom?
Babloom.
Babloom.
Oh,
That's good. I like that. Yeah, but he's upset because she's left him,
For Stathis?
hanging.
ex-boyfriend.
No, he she's got stuff to clear up, but it's that Stathis guy. And he's looping in his head. Look at this crazed man, and so he decides to get hammered and try out the machine.
I mean, there's some crazy eyes there too.
I'm catching on. I didn't mean to kill your brother.
He's like, I forgive you.
But I gotta tell you, Stathis.
I've got 11 more.
If Stathis turned a monkey inside out, whatever. Stathis don't care. Goldblum, he at least has human emotion.
Come on.
He knows of it.
Yeah, he's heard of emotions. So
All right.
naked.
We got. There's some questions that we have to start probably discussing here. Like, we know for a fact that this machine transports clothing without a problem.
Yeah.
But
So-
if you,
Oh, there's your button
Try the
again.
button.
Oh, hold on. Go ahead. You can
I
just.
love that thing, man.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to say about, well, actually, Nate, you say what you're going to say.
well, there's a line here. Yeah.
Tell me, am I different somehow? Is it life or is it Memorex?
Which, like, as a child of the 80s, I remember
That's a
that
great line.
campaign. Yep. No, I remember Memorex tapes, Memorex floppy disks.
Yeah.
Like, no one would catch that one these days.
Yeah.
That was lost to
Yeah.
the ages.
Lost in the plasma stream of time.
You know
No,
what's
so-
weird is that I've actually seen, like, from that same era, the image of the guy like leaning back in his chair and the
Back.
wine glass
Yeah.
slides back.
No,
that image persists.
It's yeah, no, the image persists, and that was a martini glass.
Mm.
It was for the shape of the coupe, and it's spilling just so. It's a great image. So the thing I wanted to point out here is he's currently buck naked holding a monkey. Okay. So there's like some interspecies thing going on here.
Yep.
And I feel that the whole rules for teleportation are super weird. So the fly went in and merged with him. But what about all the bacteria, right? And like
Yep.
and like you said, he couldn't wear clothes, but he's got hair. Hair is just dead cells,
Yep.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like, I think the rules are all wrong. He should emerge either basically with not a lick of hair on his body, or he should go in completely shaved and no clothes, or you know what, just throw caution to the wind, wear a leather
Get in there with
jacket,
actual
you
clothes.
know, and
But-
and maybe a dog, a baboon, a couple flies, and because I mean the bacteria that live on your body are legion.
Well,
You know?
okay.
Later when he gets merged with the telepod because the door gets left open, that's again, it's like, wait, hold on,
Yep.
you know.
I mean, I'm willing to give the movie a little bit of plausible deniability. We probably didn't see the 15-minute montage where he Windexes like the inside of the container, like sprays it with bleach and stuff, like to kill all the bacterias. And you know, I mean, the fly got in. That was a big accident.
I mean, that was a mistake, right? That was, got to keep your optics clean level mistake. But,
Yep.
it's, Meh.
It's true.
Yep,
I like how you get the live animal crate. That's great.
they should have retitled this movie "Mistakes Were Made."
Right. And here's the incredibly gorgeous science reporter on his pull-out couch.
You did it. Someday she's going to learn how to play baseball.
And be a pirate.
Okay. Now, does he want to hunt his own?
No. Remember, it's alive. When he opens
Yeah.
his hand, it's alive.
He lets it go.
He's trying to. This is like man and fly meet.
All right.
It's his fly like reflexes that's able to catch a fly in midair. That's pretty hard, in case you didn't know.
Mr. Miyagi can do it.
With chopsticks.
Yeah.
I know.
With chopsticks.
He's so much better than us.
He is.
You just have to aim forward because they can't fly backwards.
The feats of strength here, I just find kind of amusing.
Wait, stop. Oh, don't hit play. Go ahead.
Clearly not him.
No, yeah, there's a lot of cutting between old Goldblummy and somebody else.
Yeah.
I was pretty thrilled. I don't know which one of you put it in, but somebody else put Jim Cotta in the notes too. I was like, oh god, this is so Jim Cotta.
I'm like, what is this bar doing there? But yeah, no. So I looked up the gymnasts who played him in the scene, and they're both like a foot shorter than Jeff Goldblum. And you can see when he sticks the landing. And also they have this weird hallway on the ceiling above the bars. It's so weird. You'll see when he goes around. Here. Okay, not him at all.
Definitely not.
So clearly not him.
No normal human being does that.
Right?
I'm gonna skip a little because I don't want to get the thing, but I do want to see when he goes and runs across the ceiling. Because again, that is like if you asked me to make like my list of 5 images that I remember of this movie, like 12-year-old Rob running across the ceiling, is that not like 12-year-old me was like, if I could run across the ceiling, everything would be perfect.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I have another moment in this movie where I think the same thing. I can't wait to share it.
Oh, we're doing some big jumping now, because now everything now is gonna get gross.
His skin is super grody.
Oh, but this is the monologue, Nate. I don't know how much of this I want to let run, but it's so great.
You have to listen to me.
You're afraid to dive into the plasma pool, aren't you? You're afraid to be destroyed and recreated, aren't you? I bet you think that you woke me up about the flesh, don't you? But you only know society's straight line about the flesh. You can't penetrate beyond society's sick, gray fear of the flesh.
I mean, whoa.
The next line is "Drink deep or taste not the plasma spring," which I like. I just like that because
but before you,
Or taste not the plasma spring. See what I'm saying?
See what I'm saying?
So this is classic Cronenberg. This is Cronenberg writing it, because in Videodrome, which was the movie he did either after or right before this, he has this whole thing where it's James Woods or something, and it's "Long live the new flesh." He's got all this disgust.
Yeah.
He loves the word flesh. Everything he does is fleshy, whether it's Existence or this or Videodrome. It's
Well,
all
that's the
about
whole deal,
people
right?
messing around with goopy scars and stuff. Yeah.
So I'm usually not one to nitpick costuming and stuff, but if you were gonna have a bar bully, he can't have suspenders and pants that go up to his nipples. It just can't happen.
What is
What about his red flannel?
Yeah, he's tough. He's tough. Look at
No,
that guy.
he's an escapee from the group home. He's not,
Pluto.
It's just,
Take off.
Yeah, he also like
look-
There's nothing
Those
threatening
pants.
about that man.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
Take
it's
a
his
hike,
attitude.
or I'll pull my suspenders down.
And of course, throughout these 10 minutes, we are seeing Goldblum get grosser and grosser and grosser. Oh, and then this girl. Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
54.
All right, it's happening. We're getting there, Rob.
So here is where I think something magical happened. You know, finally, the fly and the barfly join as one, and the prophecy has been fulfilled. You know, behind some bar somewhere downtown, a dumpster has come to life. And, you know, who knows what's happening in this new world, but wow, it finally
Nice.
happened.
Yeah.
Everything about that whole scene, man.
It's such a messed up scene.
Who's this?
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I live with my mother too.
Yeah, I think this one was you, Rob, but I think we probably have.
We went past it.
Oh.
5439. Be afraid. Be very afraid. That's where that line comes from. It's in the
Who's
movie.
this?
Oh, I forgot to tell
He
you,
missed
I live
it.
with my mother too.
You gotta scooch back.
different time.
There's.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
You know, I missed it when I watched that.
And she's like, I'm afraid I missed my appointment at Sephora.
Right?
Sorry, that's mean. Yeah.
Oh God, everything about that, man.
Who's this?
I looked her up too. She was in a bunch of Scream Queen kind of movies.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 80s.
Yep. Oh, God, I can't. Oh, it's hard to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, it's effective filmmaking.
Yeah.
Super gross.
That's Nate.
Yeah, that was Nate.
Yeah.
But
No,
I think
mean,
Nate just wanted to note that.
You know, you can't cut fly hair with a Norelco. Only the Braun Micron 3 can cut fly hair.
Fuck it, we're going 5 blades. Ugh.
Yeah,
I don't even
those
know.
fingernails.
Can't watch this. Nope.
All
I'm
right.
out.
Yeah. I noted the body horror. We don't have to do all of it. I just was like, hey, like, you know, Cronenberg knows what grosses you out. Tearing off
He does.
fingernails and squeezing fly juice out of your fingertips. Pretty gross.
Yeah. Ugh. Wait, did I overshoot here? No, I didn't. 59, 52. Oh, this is my note here is this is asshole operating system. Secondary element is not Brundle.
What?
Thanks, computer.
What a jerk.
I hate that computer.
Jerk. It's not Brundle. I told you.
Yeah, I mean, he's technically right.
Aren't you listening? Yeah, like this level of graphics in this computer.
I mean, actually, this is pretty accurate for the period.
That's okay.
Yeah,
but
no,
when it
this
starts
is
getting all
remarkably
3D and
accurate.
zoomy and stuff. Yeah.
This might actually be the most accurate piece, like time period accurate piece of technology that we've seen, like in any of the movies we've watched doing
Yeah,
this.
because you could do this with a 16 color, 240
Yeah.
by 200 display or whatever.
So 1986. Yeah, I mean, this
So the
looks
PC
like
was out. The Apple II was out. They probably just did this on an Apple II. And
you know, but I mean that looks like more than a 16 color display. That's the one thing. But I'm sure that they had that available to a research. A guy who only dresses in the same suit every day probably has access to a computer with like an 8-bit color palette in 1986.
yeah, well, I mean, because you would have had a 256 colors in the CGA, class display. But,
CGA.
This
has
is
4
too
colors,
much.
man.
This is just some animator getting
Yeah.
dry.
Let's see. I think this one's Nate.
Oh, his skin is so gross.
All right.
This is. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Just graphics. again, for the time, like not really realistic, but impressive by 1986 standards.
The thing that I struggle with here is this implies, okay, now if I'm reading this correctly, the fusion of Brundle and Fly have occurred at the molecular genetic level, which is not what a teleporter would do. A teleporter would make a copy of the thing. In order to fuse at the genetic level, that means that you took the Fly and then like replicated copies of his DNA and spliced it into. So I guess I'm having a really hard time with why you would design that.
Hold on. Remember, he didn't design it. He goes to the molecular assembly guy. He goes to the scanner guy.
And laser.
He just plugs them together. And if that happens to, the guy's doing the genetic scanning over here and the rebuilding over there. He's just a mechanic. He's just throwing stuff together.
Right, and you don't know that it doesn't destroy the original and just make a new copy in the other end, right? You don't exactly know.
For sure. Right. I guess I'm just saying there's a programmer, and the programmer decided that if there's two objects, the right thing to do in this machine that's designed to make a copy of molecules, like the right thing to do is not to copy the molecules, it's actually to merge like but just the DNA. The skin made it through fine. We copied we merged the genes. I'm just saying that's a design flaw.
The problem I mostly have from a scientific level is if that happened, there wouldn't be a transformation. He would be that thing.
He'd just be dead. Pod, right? Well, and also, look, get real. All the bacteria, all the germs, the viruses that live on your body would end up getting merged as well. This is very inconsistent science.
Yeah, that's my problem with this movie.
They kind of predicted CRISPR with that little throwaway screen, but yeah.
But that's the thing, is that the way CRISPR works is it takes time for that to propagate. That I buy all of that. I don't buy that the machine would somehow splice the Fly DNA into all of the human cells, or even enough of the human cells for that to be effective. CRISPR still needs a lot of cells to work.
Yeah, that's right.
Or you got like percentage-wise at least. So yeah, now Goldblum, he's not looking so good.
Oh, he looks so good.
This again, though, the Goldbluminess of this comment is fantastic.
It made it as me and the Fly. We hadn't even been properly introduced.
We haven't even been properly introduced, and then kind of a creepy smile and look away.
He's got like these little head bobs too. The Goldblum, man. If we could all be so lucky.
I mean, he found his career early, weird science guy. So gross.
Body horror. Yeah.
I don't know that I feel like we have to be careful fast forwarding through the next couple of minutes.
Well, so here's the thing, right? So his ear falls off, and then she hugs the side with the dropped off ear. It's like, wouldn't that hurt? Wouldn't you not want the ear goop all over your hair?
Right.
Anyway.
But then also, she doesn't make him go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, what are they going to do for him at the hospital? They take him to the hospital, and she'll never see him again because the government's showing up and putting him in a cage for the rest of his short life.
Let's see. Now, modern medicine is taking 2 to 3 weeks to come back with a COVID test. What are they going to do with this guy? They'll be like, wait, so your insides are turning into an Eucharist blend, and you're losing body parts, and they're dropping off like flies.
Okay, I agree 100% with you guys. He's gonna die. But what I'm saying is that all four of us have a woman in our life. And if that happened to us, the woman in your life would say, okay, you go to the hospital now.
I mean, I dislocated my shoulder, and she insisted I see a doctor afterwards. I mean, like, if my ears were dropping off, she'd be dropping me off and pushing me out of the car in the ER. So
All right, I have a note here, and I don't even remember why I put this one down because I watched this movie 10 days ago.
you said permissions.
Yep.
Do I have permission to claim your body when this is all over?
Oh yeah.
Ew.
I mean, that's Max Stathis.
What a creep.
Yuck.
Stathis.
I don't know how
The
they could make
expression on
that.
her face, like, oh, God,
Why did I come to this guy?
I chose poorly in my career.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just, the scene where he's crawling around the ceiling,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Spider Pig,
It's almost
Spider Jeff does whatever a Spider Jeff
Stop calling my
does.
name.
Does he climb on the ceiling? Yes, he does.
I mean, it's
just
pretty
dumb.
well done.
Yeah.
Well, I figured they must have had one of those rotating room things.
Oh, no way.
sets.
or
That's-
just
no,
another
like-
set. Yeah.
They just
Like,
glued a
They
couple
did such a good
holes.
job. You guys.
You think this is like an Inception kind of budget?
Yeah, I do.
You think this is
It's not that hard.
2001?
1986 or whatever it was.
Yeah, they probably did. No, otherwise, well, maybe that's another gymnast.
No,
Now watch
it's
the- watch the
just what
cuts.
they did.
Oh, look at that.
That's what they did for Poltergeist. They built a room like that.
Sure.
And then they
Yeah.
just reused it over and over and over again.
But like
Oh,
there
it
was
could
a
be the
cut
room
there.
from
You're
Poltergeist.
stricken by a disease with a purpose. wouldn't
So
you
they
say?
cut between him being on the ceiling and on the wall here. And then here they cut again before he gets on the floor.
Maybe not such a
Cut.
bad disease after all.
I can't-
See, I mean, there's no way they built a machine to rotate that room. If you're not going to if you're not going to run the shot, I don't know. What do I know?
Well, I mean, maybe anyway. They had a lot of fun with it. That's all
They
I'm
did
saying.
for sure. Let's see.
Ah,
This
so
one's
gross.
Nate. Oh,
I like this line.
I'm becoming
Oh,
Brundlefly.
we
There was no
missed
real
it.
process.
Yeah, it was that.
Brundlefly. Just
I'm becoming Brundlefly.
So gross. So gross. They really. Ugh. The good thing, I guess, is to the movie's credit, they do like bring him back visually, because it would be pretty hard for you to identify with him. I guess like they clean him up a little bit, like they make him feel. I mean, he's still horrible, but. All right, this one's you,
So-
Ro.
Half is so gross.
So here, she's thinking about, she's thinking about having that baby, and she just watched him the way he ate. That's one of the things
Yep.
we skipped over. He shows her that he just pukes over everything. So I thought, wow, I bet she's probably mostly upset thinking about the burp cloths she's gonna need if she gives birth to this giant maggot beast. Breastfeeding's gonna be a nightmare.
Yep. Ugh. And yeah, like we were saying earlier, like all of the abortion stuff as as a kid, this kind of blew over me, I guess.
I remember this whole thing is a yeah. So, oh, here's the larva baby.
Ugh.
There we go. Okay.
I love how freaked out all the doctors are.
Suction here. A little suction.
Yep, a little
Like
suction
Sathis
will
would
fix it.
actually be there for her. There's no way. He's not the kind of guy who sticks around
No.
for the baby. You know? I'll
Well,
be a
and I don't-
father to him.
Come on,
I don't
go
think
push.
they let you into the room when they're doing that.
That's it.
I,
Give us a push. You can push it out. Come on.
give us a
That's it.
push.
Come on.
No, wait.
No, this is not good.
Oh, wait. Oh.
There are some really good reactions. Everybody in that
Yeah.
whole scene is just like, ah!
Yeah,
Yeah.
so gross. Yeah, wow.
Yep. What do you say? That's terrifying. Oh,
I can't watch. To all of our
Yeah.
viewers, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's so gross.
yep. Oh, I can't watch this part.
yeah,
Yeah, you
through
can.
it. I
You gotta-
I marked the body horror scenes. We can skip them.
The
Yeah, I was just gonna say, not the worst medicine cabinet I ever owned. I'll put it out there. Pretty horrifying, true, but not the worst I've seen.
all right, so I think I want to let's see. Oh wait, nope. Ah, go. Gotta get. Oh, he's really looking pretty swole at this
Terrible.
point.
Yeah.
What is he called? The
Pretty bad.
Museum of Brundle.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So gross. It's so Cronenberg though. That whole cabinet.
Body parts
You know?
falling off.
Ugh.
Everything about that man.
Did Zen get his chance
Yeah.
at 1:15:20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
This-
the thing go ahead, Nate.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the please have the baby. Like, like the dude's a grotesque monster, and like, once it's seeking some redemption is like kind of oddly poignant, but yeah,
Still better than
So-
Stathis.
Yeah, right.
still better.
So the thing that I was going to mention is there's a sequel to this movie called The Fly 2, and it stars Eric Stoltz as Brundle Baby, so as given birth to by Gina Davis. She dies during childbirth, and he is given birth as a larva and then emerges from a larva as a boy, right?
I've seen it. Yeah.
And it was actually one of Frank Darabont's first movies, right? The guy who would go on to annoy all of us with The Mist and the rest, and is such a great filmmaker of this kind of thing, right? But yeah, okay, hand melt scene. So this
Yeah.
was done by the same special effects guy who did Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Really?
Yeah,
So-
I was gonna say that, young Rob Mulder's favorite scene, the one he remembers, is running across the ceiling. Mine was how awesome it was that you could throw up on someone and melt a limb. I thought that was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Doing the
And it couldn't
hands.
happen to the naked guy. So gross.
Do not like.
But it is literally the weird German melting technology from Raiders. I mean,
Oh,
the guy
yeah.
Chris
It makes
Wallace, he did the creature effects for this. He did it for Gremlins. He did it for Dragon Slayer. You might remember all the really great sort of frankly gore effects and everything. I mean, the guy is an artist of the gross Cronenberg movies. So, and Cronenberg worked with him on like 4 different movies. Oh,
This is the final metamorphosis.
Ah.
It's
not watching.
gory, but it's also kind of satisfying. Like, it really is like, you just throw for a reason.
hit
Like,
pause.
it's an
Sorry,
outer
Nate.
shell.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is also we're totally gonna get a copyright strike if we play it for too long, but it's so gross, dude.
It really is.
So
All of this, man. I mean, I don't know. As a monster, he's actually really effective.
he's scary.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but like he's more plausible than a lot of creatures that you see in horror movies. Like the I don't know, the movement, the mass and everything feels right, and like it's wet and gross and it doesn't look like rubber.
I think part of it too is they took a lot of time making sure that it still had Goldblum's eyes. Every bit of it is alien and stuff, but it still has sort of the same shape and sort of the same color as his eyes.
Plus he moves weird to begin with.
Yeah.
This is a good place to hide.
there's-
If I'm gonna hide from
Yeah.
the monster, I'm definitely hiding in the telepod.
Well, he forced her in there, right?
I'm gonna stay
So,
here. I'm just gonna tint the window, and oh, there's your nice button.
Yeah. The button, huh? But and then Sathis shoots the coolant out and takes the telepod offline. But look, we got coolant leak. That's kind of exciting because the technology needs cooling.
There you go. That button gets a lot of screen time, man.
It's a great button.
All right, now I see
I'm
it.
telling you,
I'm in.
right?
The shiny
I mean, it's like a
candy apple red
finely-
button.
It's like a finely milled aluminum, shape. It's cool.
I mean, it works.
Yep.
And I kind of thought, hey, I know there are sequels to this movie. Maybe the sequels are the Adventures of Brundlefly Pod.
Yep.
Like he just picks up and keeps going.
The fly pod. It's like the iPod.
I can teleport stuff, to and from a telepod, and I'm a big flyman monster.
Climb into my pod. Save this. Ugh.
So the thing that I thought about was the original movie. The way it ended
Mhm.
is absolutely hilarious, and the exact opposite of this movie, and horrified people all the same in the 50s because they weren't all cool and sophisticated like us. But yeah, and I have it here. I can replace my face with the scene from the original movie if you want.
All right. Well, let's just
Let's get through this.
You wanted to run through his is your timestamp the finale or the bag?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love when he grabs the gun.
Right, we were ahead of that, but yeah, I mean that's that's good.
He makes a
directing.
grunt that sounds like "kill me."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's like points the gun at his own head.
That was the callback to the original movie. Because there's this scene in the original movie.
All right, let her rip. Ooh.
So that's the fly in the original movie, and he's stuck in a spider web, and he goes, "Help me! Help me!"
And they crush him with a brick.
And then this old man, it's so funny. He goes, "Oh well, I know what to do with this." Smoosh.
The end.
And that's how that ends. And the funny thing about that is then like they turn around to the guy's kid and then go, "See, we've taken care of it." It's like, wait, what? That kid's gonna be scarred for life. He's never gonna see a fly or a spider without having like huge PTSD problems. Much like Gina Davis.
Yeah, but you know, she just gets back with Sathis. They go on.
Yeah. They drive off in the cut rate Maserati.
Eventually,
Sit on
Sathis goes
sit
on to become
pile
Andrew
of,
Fauci.
Vertical cash, magazine cash.
Well, I
And
mean,
the
she's
ba-
gonna have to
and-
drive though, because she can't operate stick anymore.
No, the baboon is their chauffeur.
Yeah.
Teleporting lightweight, says the baboon. Couldn't handle his teleporter.
Yeah.
And then you see him sprout wings.
Yep.
So I enjoyed this. It was a memory lane thing because this was like I only probably saw this maybe twice, and it was fun. And I'm still creeped out by the body horror.
It's super grody.
And I kind of want to watch Existenz again because that is just as messed up as this. Okay. I think next week is my turn. Am I right?
It's not mine. That's all I remember.
That's true. Thank you for selecting this, Rob. You chose wisely. So I know what I'm choosing.
Genius. Rob chose The Fly.
I'm ready. We're gonna stick around in the mid '80s. It's time for us to watch Leah Thompson and a little robot named Jinx. And everybody's going to space camp, guys.
Oh, wow.
Space camp.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Strong choice there.
I downloaded it a few days ago just to make sure that it was acquirable on the intertubes, and yep, Space Camp. I haven't watched this movie since probably 1988. So
I just got an email from Space Camp today asking me to hashtag save Space Camp because like they're super out of money.
I would assume it's hard to socially distance when you're stuck in a space shuttle.
You know, I don't know that I've ever watched Space Camp.
Oh, this is gonna kill you.
I watched it. I remember.
Yeah, I hate to say this, Rob.
We'll do it.
This one's gonna hurt your heart. But for me, this movie has Kelly Preston and Leah Thompson, and I don't know, like 12, 13-year-old me could think of no finer women on earth than the two of them. So that'll be next week.
All right.
We ready to say our farewells, gentlemen?
I think we should.
Indeed.
All right. Goodbye, Chris DeBona.
See everybody.
Goodbye, Nate Ostendorp.
Fairly well.
Goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
Good evening.
And thank you to any of you who managed to make it through all of this. This has been episode 489 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and we will see you tomorrow for the news. And next week for Space Cave.